I am interested in surprises. And you know who's in store for a really great surprise?
Mm.
Khabib Nurmagomedov. How was that for a
Oh,
segue, sir?
excellent segue.
Yeah, we're getting better.
Hmm.
So Khabib says while he's doing media for his upcoming fight against Justin Gaethje, unification bout, cannot wait to see that
I
fight.
know.
He's doing media, and he mentions that Dana White told him there's a very big surprise in store for Khabib after 254. There's a ton of speculation about what this surprise could be. Um, I mean, there's things being thrown around like it's a Mayweather fight, it's a Conor McGregor rematch. Um, what do you think it is?
Well, I feel like the two biggest ones right out of the gate are the GSP fight or this like Khabib and Conor coaching on the Ultimate Fighter that Dana's been talking about. Those don't do anything for me. Neither one of them. And I don't think the GSP one obviously does, but the Connor on Tough obviously doesn't do anything for Khabib. Khabib has no interest in that. Why would he? It's awful. We talked about this. They've done this all the time. They're like, oh, we got a nice hot rivalry. Let's stick them on Tough, and then it'll ruin it because it burns out over the course of 8 weeks. But we have
Yeah,
to keep
man.
watching TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt going at each other, and then the rivalry just gets ruined. Or Holly and Misha. Misha ended up becoming the like the hero and all of it at the end, and she became like the sympathetic figure. Um, so yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those two things. But also to me, I feel like it may not necessarily be the opponent, but the location. I think you do Khabib in a giant arena in Russia. You send him to Russia, let him have all his Putins around and all the people
Every
and
single one.
all the Putins, and you load them up 50,000 deep in whatever giant, you know, fucking arena that Russia's got. I don't know if they got some kind of coliseum. Put them in there, and you have Khabib. Whatever. That one, if this is saying that he gets past Gaethje, that would be his 30-0 fight. So like, that's big. If he does the big 30-0, he always talked about his dad wanting him to retire at 30-0. If that's like the last one, you do it real big. So you something 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 real big.
Yeah, man. I think that the GSP fight is not something that Dana White was ever really sold on. I
Mm-mm.
think it's something that Khabib really wanted.
Mm-mm.
And I think he still really wants it. I think that
Because
if you,
GSP already burned the UFC on this deal with
yeah,
Bisping. They
yeah.
they just experienced this with him, and they know
hmm
he'd do the same thing again.
Well, but the only way you do it is if Khabib is steadfast in the fact that he's retiring at 30 and 0. If you're
Yep,
going
then
to
it
lose
negates
your
it.
if you're yeah, if you're going to lose your champion either way,
Do it.
hey man, I mean I'm tuning in for that all day even though I feel like it's ultimately not that competitive.
They just did that
Um
with DC because he's a company guy. Knew it was his last retirement fight, still put him in a title fight. They was cool with it
eh,
because he's always been a guy.
yeah, well and it adds to the fact that not only is one competitor probably one and done, both of them are. I doubt GSP is not going to hang out. Yeah, he wants to collect a third belt, which is, I think, the only thing where we MMA could ever offer GSP to come back is the
Yes.
possibility to be the first man to ever win three belts.
Yep.
That would be an incredible thing to watch. At least watch him attempt it, which maybe one day we'll get to talk about how we think that fight would go. I'll just give a preview of mine. Not great for the Canadian,
Mm.
but I think that you're right. I think more than likely. Well, I would say you would be right if we were not living in the middle of a global pandemic. So unless Khabib wants to wait a full year, where hopefully some of this stuff is buttoned up, I don't know if you do a stadium show, but I am pretty sure that it's a fight that's going to make Khabib a lot of money. So really, any name that's going to be able to do that, yeah.
I'm kind of off topic. I'm anxious to see how big of a spectacle they make the Khabib Gaethje fight over there, because Khabib, fought Dustin in Abu Dhabi last year, but the world was still open. But that was still like huge. Like Putin was there at that, and that was a big deal. And now, Rona's still locked down, but I still think that's going to be massive. I think the Khabib Gaethje fight is going to be real big.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. You best believe Putin in the gang is getting into the bubble in Abu Dhabi.
It's been a wild year. The Usman Masvidal COVID pay-per-view sold more than Cerrone McGregor back in January. It's insane. It's crazy.
Hey, it turns out when you only fight once every other year, people kind of forget who you are, or like forget, it's actually, side note, not to distract from the conversation again, but Khabib's cousin signed with Bellator.
Umar, right? Or what was it? Umar?
No, he sounds like Usman Nurmagomedov. It's the most creative fighter name I've ever heard. I said, "Oh my God, we're running out of names."
Yeah.
We're running out of names. We're just throwing random Usman Nurmagomedov. There you go, the scariest man alive. There you go.
Bellator snatched him up. That was a good move. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah, I mean it's a whole other topic. Okay, but other than GSP, so there's
not a lot of options, right?
Yeah,
something big has to either be GSP, a Conor rematch, or I want to say Tony Ferguson, but you have to do something to make that big. I think they're going to do Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chandler. I think you can do something big with either one of those if either guy has a really big performance. Like Michael Chandler goes out there and knocks out Tony Ferguson, then now all of a sudden you have a new interesting player on the scene up there at the top three. You can do something with that. But if Tony has a really good performance, takes out Chandler, there's still a chance we can do this a sixth time. We can pull off the long-awaited Khabib versus Tony fight. Now, some of the shine is gone now that Tony had his ass destroyed by Gaethje, but
I don't think so, man.
There's still something there for sure. A little shine was diminished, just a little
shine.
But there were reasons as to why that was so thrown together in last second.
Yeah, that's the thing. Styles make fights, and we still don't know what a crazy, weird style like Tony Ferguson put up against the smashing machine. Well,
you're right. Another thing too.
Oh my God!
After the Khabib and Gaethje fight is over, we may that result may make us think a little bit differently about that previous one. Like if Khabib goes out there and just tears straight through Justin and does him just like Conor and Poirier. Like, okay, all right, all right, that's it.
Who is, man, I'm just like, the surprise, the big surprise. Like, if the big surprise really is, like, how disappointed will you be as a fan if it turns out the big surprise is a McGregor rematch?
But the thing is, who's it a surprise to? Is it a surprise to the fans, or is it a surprise to Khabib?
I'm thinking, yeah, that's the thing. So it would be, a Conor rematch would be a surprise to Khabib because he and his management have come out and said that there's no way in hell that fight is happening. So it would be a surprise to them, I guess. As far as a surprise to us, it would be, hey, 30-0. Do you want to go for the welterweight belt?
Yeah, or like a 165. People have thrown out
That's
that like the wild
that's it.
stuff about like forever. Dana's been talking about the Zuffa boxing and trying to get Floyd involved and like firing up Zuffa
That
boxing and stuff.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hope we
According
stay away
according
from
to
that.
yeah, according to Mayweather, he could make 300 million easy by fighting Khabib. And it's also not that big of a deal because he's not fighting a young lion boxer. He's just fighting an MMA guy. That's what he said in an interview recently. So
I'm done with this
way to sell it.
crossover.
Way to
No,
sell it.
no more
I mean,
MMA
he
boxing
straight up,
crossovers,
dude.
please.
Yeah. That interview was very. I mean, people accuse Mayweather of like being afraid or whatever. No, he just straight up. I mean, he just is straight up like, yeah. I mean, in boxing, there's a bunch of young lions that like it's their time, which is I would assume his shorthand way of saying like I would lose, but McGregor couldn't really punch that good, and I bet Khabib couldn't either. So I could probably make a combined $600 million by like just fighting them or whatever.
Yes.